Okay, let's jump into it. 11:31 on 24th. So coming into the last week, or 7 days or so, I suppose, of the trading month. And well, DXY, look, I hate the term, yeah, US dollar wrecking ball kind of thing. But I've been saying it all the way through here that look, it's going to keep going, keep going, keep going. I said it's not like the job isn't done yet, blah 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 blah. And I have to admit, up around this area here, I've started to sort of try and sort of stand in front of it, and this was happened. This is what happens. It just keeps on charging on. So massive night overnight. I mean, geez, whoever had sort of what 104.60 on their bingo card for US dollar when we were down here at 100, that's crazy. Like, I mean, you can see where I had the sort of price targets up around these areas over here, 103, 103.50 and that, and this is just carved through that. I mean, I've been sort of trying to look for the pullbacks through these periods here, obviously, as you can see. I do think these will come. It's sort of like broken clock kind of thing, but yeah, certainly it is absolutely charging. So from what I can sort of see, well, say see, what I can sort of what I've sort of heard around is that, a lot of this is, or at least this last sort of segment through here, is kind of sort of potentially sort of pricing in a Trump win. So we've got the elections in just over 2 weeks or something now. I think it's the 5th or something, the 5th or the 6th. Um, so, Trump's obviously very tight on sort of tariffs and all this kind of sort of stuff. I think that's sort of what's sort of like, spooking risk in terms of the market, and also sort of pushing things up a little bit higher. But I have also heard counter arguments with that, sort of that, Trump and JD Vance, the vice guy, um, more sort of looking for a weaker US dollar to try and sort of pump up their exports a little bit. So, yeah, a couple of little counter arguments and that sort of going through there. So it's hard to sort of, you can't attribute it just to one thing and sort of say, yeah, look, Trump victory, that's why US dollar's sort of going up here. We've had a number of things. The whole way along here, I've been sort of commenting, putting commentary on it. But it's just been carving. The fact that it broke through this big trend line, that was your big sort of, okay, you need to respect this move now. And it's just come up, 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 up. And as I said, look, every time you think it's done, jams up. Done, jams up. As I said, broken clock, right, twice a day, and that if you sort of keep sort of pushing at it. But the thing is, it's sort of like, as I said, from it the whole way through here, this is what DXY does. We know this. We know the price action. We know how it sort of acts like this. So, you know what I mean? You don't try and stand in front of it down here. You run with it and you let it sort of push up through here. Um, as to sort of like, whether we can call this a top, look, it's very tough because, yeah, we're coming up into some higher areas. So let's zoom out a bit. We've got these areas marked out, and these are obviously marked out because we've got, you know, we can see previous selling. If we jump onto the daily, might show it a little bit better here. Excuse me. Okay, this one. I want to move this. So we can see through here, body fill of this big drop down over here. It's clipped into it. Early days, in the session, and that's 11:35 now, and that, so 12 o'clock we'll probably see a little bit more sort of volume coming through. It is pushing down a little bit at the moment. Look at this. Look at the steepness of this. Let's take a couple of these drawings off. Look at that gradient. Remember the thing. This is what I was saying the other day, where just for a reference of this kind moves. I mean, not as long. This was A50. So this is the index in China, and this was going up like this. I was saying things on these kind of gradients, that, and now we got that. So we know how these things typically tend to end. You know what I mean? They don't sort of like, this to me is a short squeeze. Because if you look at this sort of like, without the drawings on there, we can see straight across here's the lows, 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 bang, push down, 50 base point, poof, and it has just exploded back up. And we look at how it's done this stuff in the past, like last year. This is 3 months of just grind up through here. Look at the direction that this was going as well. This at least had a couple little pullbacks along the way. We haven't really seen anything here, maybe one day here. When was that, like last Thursday or something? So look, it could certainly still go higher. I mean, we have seen this, but I would say that even this angle here is probably even steeper than this one here. So to me, this is very much, particularly through this first period here, short squeeze. As I said, look, I've even been calling the tops, well, not calling the tops, but calling a bit of a pullback through a lot of these periods. A lot of other people would be as well, and that's what they do. They try to short it, bang, they get hit. Oh, where's the next level? Okay, would be here. Boom. Oh, got it for a second. No, bang, got hit. So, there is a distinct possibility that this could be similar here as it was here, as it was here. In that sort of people go, okay, well, that's the previous area where we've seen sellers. Chart. I mean, this just carved straight through there. But, same sort of thing around here. And, now we're up into this higher level over here. So let's put a couple of drawings back on to make it even more complex for us. But we can sort of see, I'm going to have to clear some of this stuff up here. Let's just get rid of some of this. As much as I love having these things to tell the story, um, we are sort of coming up into this area. The body fill of these moves down here. Look, we're back up past the 61% of this major drop down. It's come back up very quickly. So look, at some point it will correct. I mean, we saw metals come off very hard last night. That could be another thing that was sort of factoring into this US dollar sort of push. But at the moment, really, again, still, unless you get under 103.80 now, um, this is still bullish in its move. And even if you get here, it's still bullish. It's just that sort of like, we may see a little bit of a sort of a range start to form. I think that's the best thing you can look for. Once things have moved this much, it's not going to fall, as I said, it's not going to fall in one move. It's at best, it's going to come down here, it's going to jam back up, come down here, jam back up, and we may see a bit of a sideways range till the election, till we get those numbers. Let's update this one here. So we know now that, even if it comes back down to 103.53, which is a significant little drop off in terms of how this has been moving. Like, as I said, we've only had one down day. So to get back to here, it's going to take a little bit of a move. But again, in the grand scheme of things, it's only 23% pullback on this entire move up here. So very much USD fanboys are in control. As to sort of how far, well, that sort of remains to be seen. So we'll have to sort of see. As I said, 12 o'clock we tend to get a little bit of volume, bit of action in. Excuse me, and we can sort of see how we go from there. So let's jump onto the lower time frame. So this is on the 1 hour. As you can see, this time of day, that, as I said, it's a bit hard because you got, as I said, it's just before you really start to get a lot of volume into the market. If anything, we could say, look, we've got this little trend line that seems to be sort of respecting quite well. So let's pop this here. That's enough touches for me to say that if you break that, it might be a little bit significant. As to sort of where you go down to, well, let's move this around. Let's say the buyers were sitting here. So this could give us a little platform to sort of get up underneath. If we get the breakdown here, look for a retest, and that would be the course that you'd be looking for, and a break under 104.24. This is, again, just intraday sort of stuff. I don't think necessarily this is going to be, okay, major top with it all, but, we could definitely see some rebalancing. It was a massive move last night. Like, metals got absolutely crushed, and I unfortunately missed the bulk of that short side move, which is a little bit sort of frustrating because, that's what we were sort of looking for, but we are back down to our levels. So that's a little sort of play for gold here. DXY. If we get back above yesterday's high, so above 104.58, well, geez, I think, look, you're looking up at 105 and just on it goes with it all. But this is a little sort of idea for a bit of a cooling through it all. But we'll have to wait and see. So flip across to silver because silver came back right into our zone down here. So as I said yesterday, it's sort of like, I was cautious to buy up here. And what I mean, I caught the short, I think, through this part here. I caught the short through this part here. But the big bulk of this move from 34.40 down to 33.40, that's a buck move. That's a big move down there. I missed that. I wasn't part of this part here. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I need to sort of, respect in sort of my style of trading and that. I caught this move through here. I caught this move through here. That's fine. Double that out. Come down here. If you were holding or whatever, put your stop to even, you would have just got stopped out. But yes, of course, I sat on the sidelines and I missed this move down here. But as we said, these are the areas that we were looking for. So down in this little level over here, we're potentially setting up for a head and shoulders, which, as I said a second ago, could be sort of lining up for a little bit of this kind of thing here. Could be lining up for just a little bit of short-term um, USD cooling. And you see metals sort of reprieve a little bit, come back up here, and then push back down to these sides over here. So look, name of the game, missed that part of it all. Got in down the bottom over here, so it's not too bad. See if we can sort of see this to push back up here. I'll be interested to see what happens once we get up to these levels over here, which will be here. Because, as you can see, this is where the sellers were previously. It's held up over the top over here. It's punched right out. I would say there's a couple of people that probably tried to sort of get into this sort of around these periods here. They'd be looking to sort of, get out and get out of their thing. So, this kind of move through here. Let's get rid of this for now. This is something that I'd be interested to see if we do get this head and shoulders playing out. Because if we do get this head and shoulders playing out, if this does play through, we can say that this will be a neckline. I mean, it's a pretty, I mean, I guess you could probably put the neckline down here, actually, to be fair. Just gives you a bigger measured move. Down here, which, as we can see, kind of lines up with this major breakout line that it was really sort of respecting a lot back down 32.20. So, I think certainly if we can get something along this area to play out here, if we see some selling come back in here and then confirmation obviously down through these lows, I think that'd be a fair trade for the short side to sort of come down here to 32.20s. Okay, so a little bit of work to do, and I think sort of potentially a little bit of upside before we do get this. I mean, RSI's looking like it's happy to move up a bit here. Pretty oversold on the 4 hour, but we'll have to sort of see how this goes. I mean, this could just flip, and if this flips and goes straight down here, I think we're going to be moving quite quickly. But to me, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a potential right shoulder come up here and then sort of move down. But this will be the area in question, around that sort of 34 area, if we can get back up over there. So about really only 30 points off, so not too far in the scheme of things with how silver has been moving. Cool. Flip across and gold. Back down to this sort of. This wasn't actually a sort of trend line for us. This was more actually a measured move up to that top side over there. But same sort of deal here. And this is what we were thinking yesterday. Pull back down to this level. Okay, bang, we've hit. This is exactly where we said yesterday. Down into this zone. Yeah, it overshot a little bit down to 08, but back up to that 17 area, previous area where we've seen the buyers here. Take out the lows, maybe sort of see what happens. No, that doesn't really line up for anything, so let's get rid of that one. And again, similar sort of thing that we may potentially be seeing a head and shoulders play out. Depends with these sort of things if you want to take the true top. So I'd be conservative with this, and I'll sort of take this top here. That's the kind of sort of play I'm sort of potentially thinking on a break to the bottom side here. So this would again be in line with silver if we do get this little head and shoulders, a break of the neckline, back down, and this would be retesting those previous highs, 26.85, which is a fair sell-off if you think about it, because it's almost $70 sell-off from the all-time highs. But again, these things, and if you zoom out, it's still very bullish. This is actually only coming back to that 38%. Actually, no, let's update that because let's move to there now. So it'll be just past the 38% now. So down, almost closer to the 50% retracement. But in the scheme of things, that's just that last push. You got to remember, we're still coming all the way up here. So it's still very much bullish at the moment. I mean, look, gold isn't bearish unless it gets under 2600. So, there's still going to be segments of the market that are happy to sort of push these things up. So even just in a potential sort of, short-term move, through the next, maybe the rest of the week or so, we could see potentially a little bit of a move back up and sort of try and sort of hold this area here. Again, same with silver. Be interested to see what happens with this move if we do get up to 2740. If we are going to see a little bit of a head and shoulders play out. If we do see selling come in at this level, then our focus shifts to, you know, 19, really 2708, because you want to just take out that low. If we do get sort of a selling from here, you take out the low underneath 2708, and then you got a nice move down to 2680s. All right, flip across, we got Aussie. Getting absolutely poleaxed. It's funny, it's trying to sort of find any sort of sort of chart or lines or anything that it could respect through any of this stuff, and it's just been bang, bang, bang. Look, this is what I say though, sort of with the charts. It broke through this level here. It really tried to hold it, tried to push back up. Remember this part here where it really tried to move, that was from that sort of China might sort of do a second round of stimulus. Didn't happen. Boom, smack back down. So again, these things, there's never like one factor that sort of drive these things down. But just get rid of this. Does this line up with anything? Maybe, maybe, maybe. Let's see. Get this out of here. But yeah, anyway, so back to the chart. Yeah, look, the fact that it breaks these levels, 67 particularly, I said it's going to get tough, like moving back up into the 67s. Yesterday, we were moving up here. Yesterday was a funny one because like we sort of sold down early, came right back up, and then got absolutely hammered. So, there are segments of the market that do want to buy it. It's just that, as I said, while US dollar is really in wrecking ball, USD fanboy mode, it's going to be a little bit tough for it. Like it's really sort of getting hammered. And the fact that it broke this rising support, it broke the 67, the price needs to be punished adequately, is how I put it, because you need to respect that these levels needed to hold for a bullish continuation. That hasn't happened. So now we're flipping down and we're moving into the other direction. And we've actually taken out, now that I look at this, taken out September lows. So we're back into, look, a previous area that we do have pretty much marked out. We call that the buy zone. We didn't quite get down to it just before that last leg up there. But certainly, if this is sort of playing out here, you know what I mean, we are sort of in an area where you would expect some buying. We've got a little bit of support coming in through here. As to how far up this goes, well, I think sort of, as I said, Aussie's really going to be doing it pretty tough and going to get bought into. I'd say bought into, sold into on any particular rallies it does have coming up. Look, again, same deal as yesterday. If somehow it can find what it needs, and, I mean, we're talking 60, 70 points now, and get back up to above 90s, maybe you're on your way to sort of at least, back into 67. Obviously, well, you're pretty close then, but back into 67s, and you can deal with that kind of stuff there. But till you get above 67.50, it's still in this bearish sell down, and it's just going to be sold into on any rallies. That's really the level you need to get above 67.50, which is 110 points off now, which is a fairly significant move for Aussie. So yeah, a lot of work for it to do. I think sort of in the short term, look, if we could get back above sort of 66.60, these kind of levels that we were playing at yesterday, I think could be where you might be sort of looking at. Yeah, sort of maybe 80s. Like, again, this is sort of like, top side moves here. I don't really sort of respect this channel so much, but, I mean, coming through here at 66.70, I think you just got to expect that any rally up is going to be sold into. So, yeah, so certainly it's flipped from its sort of bearish thing. I mean, we started shorting up around this top area over here. Around this sort of 67 area, I really thought this was going to be able to hold and sort of push up to the top side here. And Yeah, I mean, last couple of sessions has really shown that when they want to sell it, they're back. I've said this a couple of times. It's sort of like the market's favorite pastime is selling Aussie. So yeah, that's really sort of being shown at the moment. So where we at? 11:51. Might sort of see a little bit of action coming through in the next sort of 10 minutes, and then 12:30. So about 40 minutes or so might see a little bit of a movement. We did have a bit of PMI actually just on top of that as well, coming out this morning. Like it's been super weak on the news, and I think it needs some sort of little catalysts to get things moving. One second. All right, and back. Yeah, so look, it's got a little bit of work to do. It does seem to be finding a little bit of sort of buying support here, but we'll have to sort of see how this goes. I did notice this actually. It was on a little bit of the lower time frames here. A little bit of a sort of inverted head and shoulders, which could be sort of giving us a little bit of a push. I think above 40, if we sort of drag this out just for a little intraday trade, so this would be here, this would be your measured move with your neckline. That gives you back up to, yeah, 66, 67. So if we see this move here sort of continue through, as I said, if we see DXY cool off a little bit, there's a good chance we could see a little bit of sort of rebalancing from yesterday. But, these are the kind of zones. This is the area we sort of had that early sell down yesterday. Tried to hold it, and then bang, sort of obviously it just was a one-way trade all the way through here. If you look on the lower time frames, it just did not give up. It was just dribble, 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 boom. There was no sort of up, down, up, down, up, down. It was just really just melting down the whole way. So, look, as I said, I think if we can get above 40, above 50 here, actually, would probably sort of see a bit of a move up into the mid 60s. But again, I think that, it's going to have a bit of tough time on any kind of rally. And I think sort of a lot of people are just going to be looking to sort of sell into it. Flip across to copper. Copper has, found itself a little bit of sort of buying pressure down here as well. This is the same thing I was saying yesterday that I sort of felt a little bit sort of iffy about this area over here. We didn't quite get right back down to that major buy zone, but this is the kind of plan that we were sort of thinking that it has this area through here. Typically, these areas kind of tend to fill out a little bit. And, it wasn't, this is what I was saying yesterday. I didn't think this was about to come up and break like this. I have a feeling we were going to sort of fill out this area a little bit more, and that'll be when you get your sort of break. So again, look, it's no sort of super rush on these things. As copper recovers a little bit, that will probably sort of help Aussie push on a little bit more as well. We're seeing silver and gold like make little efforts off their lows. As I said, 12 o'clock, we should probably see a little bit of movement. So that may just sort of wipe out any sort of little minor gains that it's got off the lows at this stage. But it's looking like it wants to sort of get back up into this range. Look, a confirmed push up here will probably sort of see you back up to 442. If you can get above 442, well, maybe that'll be the time that you get that kind of break there in that. But I think certainly we can see, and we've got it marked out, that this is where the sellers are very happy to sort of keep it subdued underneath for now. So a bit of a move up here. Look, it's not too bad in terms of a movement. So you're looking at, this is still 1% move. I mean, copper can move quite quickly. So, you can get 2 or 3% in that. But still, 1%, still 460 points. So, it's not too bad a little move for it. And finally, across with China, we're seeing the sellers still defend this line over here. And this is the thing as well that, potentially, as I said, look, if this is pushing down, you'll see a little bit of sort of confidence coming back into Aussie from a stronger one. It's very much, I mean, this is on the 1 hour, so, let's zoom out a bit. These are where the sellers were. We've seen them defend this line time and time again. Look, RSI is definitely tipping down, excuse me, on the 4 hour. So it's another thing that makes this sort of thing. You might see a little bit of a rebalancing of yesterday's moves. But again, look, anything can happen, and we're 3 minutes away to when we typically get a little bit of volume in. So these things can very much just turn on a dime and revert back up. If we have a look, we haven't actually got much news again today. Where are we? It's Thursday, isn't it now? So we had that was a big one overnight. The CAD sort of dropped 50 base point, but very much telegraphed. There's no shocker with that one. Aussie PMIs sort of coming out this morning. Look, this one was services was revised down, but then, well, technically up, so it actually kind of similar to what it was last week. And it's only down a very small point here. Again, 50 is the base point, the baseline you want for these things. So, services holding up, manufacturing still lagging a little bit. But Aussie ones and that don't really tend to sort of affect the market as much. As you can kind of see, it's not particularly strong uh, numbers there, but Aussie's slightly up on the morning anyway. Um, Flipping through the rest of the day, we've got not really anything through the rest of Asia. We've got this RBA annual report at 3:30, and then we've got PMIs all through the night. So these ones might actually sort of move the market a little bit here. And of course, unemployment claims from the US can impact things a little bit there as well. All right, that's it from me.